These powerful explosions occurred in a residential neighborhood in Aden, Yemen. Blasts originated from a gas station in the Mansoura district. Witnesses reported flames engulfing the gas station just before the explosion. An intense flash of light briefly illuminated the night sky, visible across much of the city. As you can see, the explosion lasted for a pretty long time, and people were running in every direction. It's easily comparable to a volcano explosion. Yemen is, unfortunately, extremely unstable, and let's say that this is not something that they needed. CCTV footage captured Anne Hughes, 71, stood outside the Best One supermarket in Tonteg, South Wales, just before 8 AM on Monday when owner Amir Akram arrived to open up. However, as she stands with her back to the entrance, the bottom of her raincoat was caught on the store shutter dot. As it rises, it drags poor Anne up with it, leaving her hanging upside down and desperately grasping for her shopping trolley. Within moments, the shopkeeper of the store rushes out and unhooks Anne before placing her safely back on her feet. The footage was posted by the store on social media and has gone viral in the last 24 hours, being viewed and shared hundreds of thousands of times. This terrifying footage was recorded on September 25th of 2024 in Mexico. It occurred after a heavy storm that swept away a big portion of the underneath ground of this house. The landslide was just getting bigger and bigger, and the weight of the pool made the entire concrete structure collapse. It unfortunately flooded the house at the bottom of the hill. I think it was a poorly located pool. They are putting many tons of water right on the edge of the property that has an unreinforced earth bank next to it. Doubt there was even a survey carried out beforehand. Unfortunately, in Mexico you are only required to pay a fee and you can build whatever you want. No inspections or codes are reinforced. This shocking video originates from China, recorded on the 15th of August of 2020. As you probably already know, intersections are dangerous, but even more when you have people like this putting everyone at risk. Even with a green light, you absolutely have to see if there are cars stopped ahead and stop, since that's the case, and he even tried to cut them through the right out of the lane. Thanks to good guy Paul, who was there to teach him a lesson. Now he lost his car, there's zero chance he'll get a cent from insurance. Thankfully, only the car crashed in the front, and even the pole was pretty resistant. This next clip was recorded at Evyapor in Turkey in July of 2024. A ship captured the disturbing moment when 4 dock cranes collapsed due to a container ship crashing into the port. The cranes alone are 8 figures to replace. The rest of the damage to the ship, the dock, the containers, etc. would push that number into the 9-digit range. This next terrifying clip occurred just a few days ago, showing the pilot of a hot air balloon hitting the burner trying to go up, while all the people are trying to pull it down. There clearly wasn't enough space to land it, so it was definitely the ground crew's fault. I've never even touched a hot air balloon in my life, and I could tell that. Pilot was not to blame. He would have missed that car. Those people all holding onto the basket caused that collision while the pilot was burning to clear it. They lifted the car in the air while the driver was inside, but thankfully it came back to its initial position. The car owner was pretty angry because they indeed scratched his car. This is the moment a blimp crashed into a row of houses in Brazil on Wednesday. The airship was rented by Brazilian soccer team Sao Paulo FC for a promotion and was performing a test flight ahead of Wednesday night's Copa Libertadores quarter-finals match against Botafogo when it suddenly plummeted in the Sao Paulo neighborhood of Osasco.
Meu Deus do céu, vai cair, amor. Nossa, amor do céu, olha isso aqui. Nossa, minha Nossa Senhora. Caiu em cima das casas. Tá todo mundo correndo agora na rua. Vai, vai. Meu Deus, eu vou lá que eu sou curiosa.
Footage showed the blimp on top of the homes as curious residents rushed out of their houses. The pilot, whose name has not been released, was rescued from the cabin. I strongly believe that when things are not meant to be for someone, we get clear signs showing us that we might have to choose something else. This pilot had a pretty terrifying moment, but thankfully it happened on the ground instead of when he would be flying. That is an absolute nightmare fuel. This guy was doing a ground run-up and the prop came off almost in the exact direction as the cameraman. I guess he will not fly today. This shocking video is from a house fire in Scugog, is a township in south-central Ontario, Canada. At some point, there was an explosion that prompted police officers to push back the crowd of onlookers that had gathered at the scene. Discussions amongst the emergency services said that propane and oxygen tankers had exploded, which sent debris onto the nearby roadway. Debris from the explosion landed as far as 200 meters away, causing 2 secondary fires. This unexpected video was recorded in Mexico in 2012, capturing the moment a train derailed due to a landslide. Landslide areas typically have trickles of dirt and falling rock up to an hour before the landslide itself. Sometimes there are smaller slides preceding a bigger one. There's a fair bit of warning for anyone who happens to be looking at the slope before one happens, usually. The cars were carrying 11 containers, 9 of those containers were knocked over and some were split open. The freight train, led by 4 locomotives pulling 66 freight cars, was heading from Chicago to Seattle, Malona said. The train was traveling slowly, at 17 miles per hour, because a smaller slide had occurred in the area just 2 hours earlier. The cars that were struck contained materials used in cleaners, disinfectants, and fertilizers, but the accident will not pose a hazard to human health. This terrifying dashcam footage shows a person driving northbound across the Howard Franklin Bridge from St. Petersburg to Tampa, Florida as Hurricane Helene approaches. Massive waves were splashing on the highway, forcing the drivers to move in the inner lanes. Thankfully, I don't live in Florida.